Welcome to this edition of Think Oldbridge. I'm Mayor Debbie Walker, and I'm honored to be joined by former Mayor and now Senator Owen Henry. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for having me, Mayor. I appreciate the opportunity to come back to OBTV, see all the nice familiar faces here at the town. It really is an honor to have served for so long and be able to come back as Senator now, and still working hard.
Yeah,
I
thought it was so important to have you on because there's a lot of misinformation out there about the pilot programs. A pilot program means payment in lieu of taxes. It's a structured tax payment that could go over the course of 30 years. And since you were mayor at the time when these began, I thought it was so important to have you on so you can explain about the pilots, because I think there's just so much misinformation.
It's misinformation. I think it's a lack of knowledge on a lot of people's part. What is frustrating to me when I see elected officials who were around during the pilot and start to say negative things about it. And when I see people who want to be elected officials and don't understand what the concept of pilot is, you know as mayor,
yes.
I know as mayor, the council knows, and it's a very open and transparent process. I must have went to the council 4 or 5 times. It goes hand in hand with redevelopment. And towns, it's probably one of the only tools we have in our toolbox as mayors to really control overdevelopment and stabilize the local tax base. One of the only tools you have left, and the council has, in order to make Old Bridge a better place and actually put a vision in place and plan for the next 30 years. So it's frustrating to me when I see people making comments, people that have just moved to town, people that really don't know what they're talking about when they put a negative connotation on pilots. And I said, I was the mayor here for the 12 years. And we were always concerned about the development on Route 9, north and southbound. As everyone knows, there was a big approval process in the late 90s for the Oaks at Glenwood, Bernetti 2000. Both sides of Route 9 were planned, approved for development, just what you've seen phase 1 with the ShopRite and the Target and the strip malls in the front and the large residential component behind it. What do you have, about 1,200 homes back there? Well, that was just phase 1. And there were 7 other phases to go in along Route 9. So as mayor, and I think as council, we all said, whoa, let's take a time out. Let's see what else we can do along Route 9 in order to stop that influx of, at that time, 7,500 residential units were approved for. Now, with the new affordable housing in place, that 7,500 is probably close to 9,000 homes would be built. There was also a large commercial. Millions of square feet were planned, like continue with a ShopRite and Target, and just go all the way down Route 9, both sides with large commercial, like we see in other towns, to the north of us and to the south of us. There is no interruption of cutouts to go and turn into a shopping center. So we came to the council, we say, hey, we have to do something. And then through the Office of Economic Development, and I would say that the stars aligned, the Bernetti family was deciding to do something now, so we had to step in before they gave it to their developers. What we see on Route 9 now in that one section was going to continue. So we said, let's go in a different direction. And we thought, and we still think, that warehousing was the direction to go in along north and southbound of Route 9. And that was to accomplish 3 things. 1 was to stop the overdevelopment of Route 9. 2 was to remove approximately 600 acres of residentially zoned properties. So you can imagine how many homes or apartments, Glenwood apartments, all the way up both sides of Route 9 south, and lower density single families, similar to what we see now being developed. We wanted to take that off the ledger, as we'd like to say. So in order to do that, we had to entice a developer to come in, first of all, buy the property from Bernetti. Bernetti never sold anything in his life.
Yeah.
But there was a change in the family ways of thinking. They wanted to entertain the sale of the property, knowing that they had the approvals. And we were fortunate to have a developer to come into town and say, yeah, I'd be willing to pay the price. And the only way he was going to do that was an incentive of a pilot. And I think people misunderstand the language, pilot, payment.
They don't know what it means. They think there's no taxes.
They still pay a tremendous amount of taxes. But they were not going to come. They were not going to come without a pilot, because they are not going to pay the standard normal taxing that we do, little to the town, most of it to the school district. No developer is going to come in and do that because it's not stable. It changes every year.
Right.
What a pilot does, it gives a payment for the next 30 years that goes up every year. And it's big money, but it helps the town, it helps you as a mayor and council stabilize the finance of the town. If you remember, I remember like it was yesterday talking about the advantage that the pilot would give us. And I was talking to the council. One, it would stabilize our finances and eliminate any high tax increases for the next 30 years. Second, it was going to guarantee that you have the money and the resources to provide the public safety in this town, which we need. As the rest of the state goes crazy, we need to have an adequate police department here, and OEM, and fire, and EMS to give you the resources to continue that for the next 30 years without having a negative impact on the residents. The third one was that we don't overtax our school system. You can only imagine how many school children would have came out of the 9,000 to 10,000 homes, right? We don't have enough capacity now. We know enrollment is way down, but if we saw that influx of children coming into town, so that was to help the school, and they were all in favor of it, yes. In fact, they even sold land to build one of the warehouses.
That's right. Yeah.
They were all for stability over the next 30 years when it comes to enrollment. Open space. The pilot program was designed to keep open space alive and well here in Old Bridge because we don't have an open space trust fund.
Right.
Tax. We do not tax our residents. And I came before the council. I said we can earmark part of that pilot every year, a percentage. And now we could start building revenues or go out and buy parcels of land all around town. And that gives you the money you need. You're not going to raise, and you know the price of land.
Yes.
So that pilot gave us the ability to raise millions and then go out and bond for even more money because these properties are expensive when going around town. So that's important, open space. And we negotiated a golf course. That was part of the pilot, a new golf course. They talked about it 25 years ago. We were able to do that through a pilot. There were road improvements that have been talked about for 50 years. The pilot brought these road improvements to fruition, connecting White Oak Lane all the way out, Jake Brown Road all the way out. They were never going to happen without this pilot. So the people of Old Bridge, regardless of their political affiliation, are benefiting from the pilots that we went through here in Old Bridge. And I would do it again in a heartbeat if you have the opportunity as mayor. If you have the opportunity to get improvements, I know there's a couple of applications looking, you can get major off-site improvements without the taxpayer expense. And I think that's so important. I don't know what else I can say. I'm sure I can go on and on and on, but I think stability is what everybody wants in their life. No one would sign a 30-year mortgage if you didn't know what the interest rate was for 30 years.
Well, they wouldn't be able to get a loan. They would not be able to, because
they
if you look at the finances now, right now, the Board Ed has raised taxes substantially in the last 2 years.
And if they weren't under a pilot, those facilities would have, but they weren't coming without a pilot.
Right.
The banking industry and redevelopment, they want pilots so they can stabilize and organize their finances for the next 30 years. Because when you think about it, this developer who came in and built those warehouses, he's investing, he's putting up front, at the time, close to $1 billion to buy the property and to build the buildings. Investing $1 billion. Now he's got to spread that out before the people come into the buildings and start paying. So his return on investment takes quite a while for him to start making his money back.
And he has to have some stability and know what taxes he's going to pay.
Any businessman knows you need stability in finance.
Yes, and like you said, having all those homes would just been a detriment to the town. It would have cost us a lot more money.
And the same people now who are complaining about the pilots are complaining about overdevelopment. Well, you can't have both. The pilot prevents overdevelopment.
Exactly.
And the way we use it in town. I mean, other towns not far from here have used pilot programs to attract residential. Woodbridge wanted to revitalize their downtown. They wanted high-rise by the train station. That's what that town wanted. And they used pilots to do that. No developer is coming in and building high-rises with thousands of units and, again, be exposed to those big tax increases. He's not doing it. So they used it for a completely different reason. But it's a tool that mayors and council can use to get what you want, what the people of Old Bridge want. And I think that's so important. I hope that the people in Trenton don't take the pilot tool away from the towns, and I think they're trying to.
Well, like an important thing, a factor to know is the Board Ed gets 60 cents on the dollar, the township gets 16 cents on the dollar. So this is a tool for municipalities to help increase our police force, increase our public works department, because running a town is not very cheap, as you know. We have all our parks we have to maintain. We provide so many services, paving the road, drainage, curbing, and this is a tool for us, for the municipality, to keep the town safe. It's very important for people to know that.
You're preaching to the choir, Debbie, because I know how much it costs. When I came into the town, we didn't have anything to do anything. So, it took a couple of years to get back on track, but once we started investing in our police department. Every year we added officers. Our public works, we added people down public works. They're the first, they're the first one you see in the winter, the spring, the fall, public works. So we added more people there. We increased our fleet. We upgraded. We have modern equipment now throughout the town. That's not cheap. And as you know, you have the record of tax increases over the last 16 years by my leadership and your leadership, and they are negligible compared to other taxing entities. How much the county has gone up, how much the school district has gone up. And when you compare it to what I've been able to do, you've been able to do with 16 cents, people should be tipping our caps, not complaining that we're going in the wrong direction. You should be against pilots if you want higher taxes. Go. If you want overdevelopment, then you should eliminate pilots. So you can't have it both ways. I'm sorry if I'm getting upset.
That's okay. We had to set the record straight. But if we look at the record from 2012 till present, the municipality has only raised taxes 10.75% on 16 cents. The Board of Ed has raised taxes 46.21 in the same amount of time.
And
that's
we had every
60
reason
cents.
to raise taxes higher. We could have gone to above the 2% cap.
Yes.
We were always very concerned. We had a couple of zeros.
And a negative.
Yes. That's kudos to you and the council that worked with me. You were on the council. We never did anything in a vacuum here.
Right.
We went and we had meetings with the public, and for them to come out of the woodwork now and start complaining about pilots and give money from the township to already taxing authority. It's not your fault. It's not the council's fault. It's not the pilot's fault. It's Trenton's fault that has put that taxing entity, the school district, under tremendous pressure. And you're not alone. There's a lot of districts in the state who have it worse, who are begging for pilots to come in to help them bail out of the situation the state and Governor Murphy has put Old Bridge and many other towns I represent in. So I'm well versed in what's going on around the state.
It's true. The governor has he's crushed a lot of municipalities and enforced, like Old Bridge, $23 million tax increase this year because of all the cuts to the school.
We are so fortunate we have a good school system here in Old Bridge. I hope it can be maintained because we have high graduation rates. We have a lot of our seniors going on to the military, into the trades, into higher institutes of learning. We have good results here. But there are some towns in New Jersey that pay all this money, and we contribute more and more money from the state, and are getting a third grade education out of high school. Yeah. And they just keep putting more and more money down that rat hole.
I mean, during election season now, we're hearing a lot of cries from some people that say they want to take money from the municipality and give it to the school board. They're going to destabilize our township to give money to the school board that already has 60 cents on a dollar. And we'd have to lay employees off, and I just think it's unreasonable.
No, that's unacceptable. I think that fight needs to come to Trenton. Trenton needs to stabilize school districts, and I have a whole litany of ideas and how to do it, where I showed them where the money was to do it, but of course I'm in the super minority, so their answer to me was shut up and sit down. I mean, I even came to the council one time and said, here's my plan, and poo-pooed. So people don't want real solutions, I guess.
You know what I'd love? I'd love to really see the school funding formula. Has anyone ever really seen it? Does it exist?
It does exist, but the way they apply it to Old Bridge and to another town is totally different. So there's a lot of shells, the school funding formula, what's under the code, it's scary, and that needs to change because it's not sustainable. Those increases will continue. And, I'm committed working down in Trenton to get this squared away because there's plenty of money. It's not a money problem. It's a spending problem.
Well, they're taking money from performing districts like Old Bridge and they're giving it to underperforming that are already swimming in money. It's not like they don't have a lot of money. And it's not fair to the Old Bridge taxpayers that they have to bear this burden.
That's a whole other TV show we can go on, and education around the state. It really is depressing. And it's not fair to the at-risk population that are suffering with these school districts. And I'm hoping that's going to change. I'm really hopeful that we're going to get some change in our state over the next few weeks.
Yeah.
And next year, 26, hopefully will be good for our Board of Education.
Get some of the money back.
And take and allow you to proceed on the path you're going down without this static or noise. And I tell you, don't pay no attention to it.
No, I just wanted
My
to have
message
this.
to you and council
I
is-
wanted to get the message out to the people that pilots are really good for municipalities. It's not a bad thing. They want to have increased police officers, increased public works departments. This
And
is
they
a way
want
to get
low
it.
property taxes.
Yes.
So if we can attack the school funding formula, I think Old Bridge will then go back to a below average tax. When I was the mayor, there was one year we were way below average when you combined municipal and school taxes. We were way below the state average. Now we're above the state average, which is not a good trend. That's to no fault of you or my last years of my administration. They weren't, it's not, and I hate to say that, it's outside forces
Yes.
that have an impact on Old Bridge and many other,
Yeah, it's Trenton taking all
Yes.
the money, and it's not fair.
Trenton and their ideology, the way they think.
Yeah.
And the people that sit silently and don't say anything.
And
That's even more frustrating.
It's not fair the way they're doing the formula because we're not getting back the amount of money we send that we're supposed to get back.
And it doesn't have to be.
Right.
It doesn't have to be. They thought one size fits all. It doesn't. Transportation needs are different in Old Bridge. Special education is different in Old Bridge than it is in another community. Things are so different. They really need to have factors. Start off with a base. Every child get this much, and then work off of that base and provide Old Bridge where they need the funding. Provide other towns where they don't need, unprovide them where they don't need the funding, where they're not getting results. Hold people accountable. It's a simple formula when you think about it.
Well, hopefully there's going to be a change and we're going to be able to straighten this all out.
Yeah.
And
but
hopefully,
either way, we have to move forward.
yeah.
And I'll continue to fight. And I'm sure no, there's always going to be opposition to anything.
Yeah.
But this is something good.
I'm
And I
hearing
think the
so much
people
negative
agree.
about the pilots, and a lot of people that are speaking about it don't really
They
understand what they're
understand.
talking about.
No. And that's what's frustrating me. When people who did understand the process voted for the process
Yes.
and now are against the process. That's a little frustrating.
Yeah, I know there's
Talk about
several
a
people on
flip-flop.
council that voted for the pilots and now they're against the pilots.
Yeah,
So
well, I think
it's
that's a
very
political,
confusing.
I say pay no attention.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I want to thank you for the great job you're doing in Trenton for trying to
We're
still
trying.
fight for us at Old Bridge to get our money back. We appreciate it.
No, and it's the right thing to do, and to reward good districts and hold failing districts accountable. Because I said it's not fair to the people that go to these schools with a 52% attendance on any given day. Less than half the kids are in school in a big town in New Jersey. How do you educate if the child is not in school? But yet the district is getting that Harvard-type money to
Yeah.
educate that
I think it's
child.
like $40,000
Put the money
per
where
child.
the kid is.
Right.
Have community learning centers. Have vocational learning centers. Put the money in there and let them so they become productive members of society. Don't put them in a failing environment. I don't know, I'm frustrated. But my message to you and the council, embrace the pilot process. Use it to what you think would benefit the town. I know there's still areas in town where we could use redevelopment, and then you could use that pilot process to get improvements, off-site improvements that you think are so important to this town. And there's many.
Yeah,
that
because
you can-
I think the number one priority for people is safety. I think that's their number one, because not everybody has children in school. A lot of the seniors, their kids are
fixed
out.
income, you could go on and on
Yeah,
and on.
so public safety seems
Public
to be the
safety
number one.
applies to everyone,
Right.
from the youngest to the oldest resident. And you need a stable to build. You're not going to put 50 officers on at once.
Right.
You're going to grow 3, 5, and get us up to a number where you're comfortable, where mine was always response time. We need an officer at your house in 2 minutes. I don't care where we are, what we are. And I think we're pretty close to that. And you need to maintain that. But how do you do that when you have an additional 9,000 homes coming in?
No, it's a big strain on our EMS, our fire, police, and it's
EMS is a
unsustainable.
problem all
Yeah.
over the state of New Jersey.
And if all the money was going to the school, the municipality would still be getting the 16 cents,
Yes.
and it wouldn't be enough.
No, and the board, in all fairness to the Board of Ed, they need to step up to the plate. They need to make some tough choices with a continuing declining enrollment. And I think it's going to continue to decline unless you build 9,000 new homes. You might see an uptick. But we have an aging infrastructure here in Old Bridge. They need to step up to the plate also and start making some tough decisions. And they are tough. I was on Board of Ed. Boy, there's nothing like, getting booed at a Board of Education meeting when you're eliminating or cutting a program that is popular. But when I was on a Board of Ed, we made those tough decisions. We were facing a $6 million shortfall in 1 year. And we were able to take the steps, and I was in the minority on the board at the time, but yet I was able to convince enough Board of Education members to say, yes, this is the right thing to do. At the end of the day, Old Bridge school system will be a better place for education, not for special interest groups. And I think the Board of Ed, they need to do some soul searching and start making some tough decisions. I think you have the perfect opportunity with a new superintendent coming in. We have an election with some new Board of Education members coming on. I mean, people need to step up, ask questions, and not just, rubber stamp everything that comes out of administration. We have so many shared services with the Board of Education.
A lot.
We save them a ton of money.
Yes, we do.
And part of the pilot was them moving off their property, right, on Jake Brown Road.
Right.
And we house them here now on municipal property. So.
Well, one important factor we have to mention about the pilots is they're still getting the land tax portion.
Yes, they still get money.
As it gets improved, it even goes higher. And they're making money on the shop, right, and the Target, millions.
Taxes,
so there is a substantial amount of money going there.
Yeah, I believe that the old Lowe's facility, the Tesla facility, they pay school taxes on that.
Yes, they do.
They didn't want to become part of the redevelopment area, and that's okay. If they don't want to, that's fine. Yeah, there's plenty of money coming into the school. And as residential does occur, Woodhaven is building. The homes behind the ShopRite, that's going to be more revenue coming into the school district.
It's a double-edged sword because they're getting students too. So,
but not as many as people would think.
People are having as much children
when they go through the planning process and they heard before the board the Rutgers study, which I think needs to be amended. It's been in place for a long while, where they average 1.3 students coming out of a single-family home. I don't think we're getting the 1.3 out of a single-family home, because I don't think they take into account that a lot of parents are opting for private school. A lot of parents are homeschooling, believe it or not.
Yeah.
So I don't see this big rush to increase our enrollment. So that's where the Board of Ed's got to make some tough decisions.
Oh yeah.
And keep the learning environment where it should be.
It was a big hit to the taxpayers this year, and I mean, initially they were blaming us because we collect the taxes, and it's hard to explain to people that come from the city, New York, where everything's all in one, to explain to them there's two separate boards, and we have nothing to do with the taxation of the Board of Ed at all.
You'd see a big change in attitude if the school district had to send their bills out. You'd see a big change if they were getting a bill
Can you
from
change
the Board
that
of
at the state level? Can you?
We could, but I don't think the flavor's there just yet.
That would be nice.
I don't think we've reached that point. If we can fix our mess in Trenton, we could, at least, I know in Pennsylvania they do that. As mayor, as a businessman, we got to handle all that money, and we didn't get a penny for it.
I know.
Dawn in finance, and they handle. What's it got to be $100 million by now?
And if somebody doesn't pay their taxes, we have to give all the entities their money, and we take the hit, which is like $2 million a year. We take a hit.
And you have to keep money in reserves.
Right.
And we know we have people that don't pay their taxes.
Well, that's another point they made. We have reserves that we keep to keep the town running. God forbid there's another Sandy, a COVID, and some members want to take from that and give it to the Board of Ed, and it's just going to destroy the town's finances.
I always tell the story. There wasn't enough for the next payroll in reserves, so that had to change real quick. And unfortunately, I had to lay off a lot of people when I first came in. But now we're a bigger and better, stronger town. We have more employees than we had.
Even though the state order just came and said how important it is to have a surplus, so important, and they want to give it away.
Well, the bonding agencies look for
we have a great bond rating.
And we've gone up and up and up.
Yes.
And I think eventually you're going to get the AAA. I really do.
It depends on the income level in Old Bridge.
There's a couple of factors here in Old Bridge that
we can't reach it.
But we are gaining. We are gaining. Old Bridge has become a very more affluent town wealth-wise. When I first came in, I was mayor. The number was a little low. Now we're up pretty high. We see a big influx of people with money moving to Old Bridge or go the houses of the prices of housing here in Old Bridge are gone through. So
it's through the. Oh, you could sell your house, and
people
lined up
who have homes, and that's another thing with when we see overdevelopment. These overdevelopment are rental units.
Right.
Very few ownership. I mean, out of the 1,200 behind the ShopRite, there's probably only about 200
houses.
200 homes that are owned. The rest
the rest
are
going to be rental.
Paying a landlord every month. Who's making that money? You're not building wealth.
No.
You're not
Well, it's the
earning
same with this
equity.
affordable housing that's
gonna
forced
be
on us,
awful.
mandated. It's crushing towns
Yeah,
around
be
us,
careful.
infrastructure and everything.
From what I've seen so far, Old Bridge is doing a great job dealing with the mess that you've been handed, the leaking bag of you know what.
Yeah. Well, we get blamed for all this building, but it's forced on us by the state, and they claim they're for open space, but yet they want us to take down every piece of open space and put apartment buildings on it.
Yeah, they don't want any greenways or any separation. They want development to development to development with nothing separating them. But we're working for it. We're going to get it. I think we are. I think we have enough like-minded people that are thinking the same.
Yeah. Before it's too late, where there's no grass left in the state, in the Garden State.
And our new residents have to realize they left somewhere to come here for a reason. Do they want to maintain what they're here now, or do they want to be part of what they left? They have to think of that in the back of their head too. Do they want to turn Old Bridge into what they ran from? So that's something that the residents have to get. But that's a message that the mayor, as a senator, I got to get out to people in New Jersey, my district.
I don't think people understand the affordable housing mandate. No. They're busy with their jobs. I don't think they understand how much is forced on these towns to build, and then they get to build more regular market units along with it.
That's
what's really crushing.
We should be emphasizing that state should be funding 100% affordable housing developments, where you take small portions. 75 affordable units, not having to come with the 500 market
exactly.
rate units.
That's what's crushing
That's what
us,
we need
the
to-
market rate, in addition to the, they don't say just you get 600 affordable, now multiply that times 5.
The 100% affordable over in Lawrence Harbor, they pulled the funding right out of that one.
Yes.
And that was, they were going to own those
Right,
units.
they pulled that out from under
They
us.
pulled the rug right out from under us. Unbelievable. I was trying to get that money restored, but it's gone.
I know it's very frustrating, but
is.
I just wanted to try to set the record straight on the pilots, that they're not a bad thing, that we really value our public safety, and
They're a good thing. Everyone participates in the pilot. Everybody got a little something from the pilot. Everybody in Old Bridge benefited from the pilot program on Route 9. Everyone. No one can say they
that
were
was
impacted
10,000 homes.
negative.
Imagine how many cars. It'd be
The
20,000 more
surrounding
cars.
community that don't have homes backed up to their fence, they benefited from it. The people who travel, and I know Route 9's a mess, but you can imagine how many cars.
Well, that's because to the
cars per
south of
house.
us, they are really building like
if
crazy. If you
you-
look
if-
at Marlboro, Monroe, they're building like
Freehold,
crazy.
you won't recognize
Yeah.
Howell coming up Route 9. I didn't recognize it. I thought I was lost. It was just building after building after building.
And it's all rentals.
all rental units.
I
And to
don't.
our north, look at what East Brunswick
Oh,
is
East
turning
Brunswick
into.
is
Brunswick
unbelievable.
Square Mall.
Yeah.
I mean, once you leave Old Bridge, oh my.
And 18's bad enough to drive on now. I can't imagine when all this building is done.
I can't believe what's going on up there.
I mean, really, as far as residents, Old Bridge has not built that many more residents. This traffic is all from other towns.
We were averaging, I think, maybe 150 new units coming online. Maybe at the height 300, but in a town this size, that's nothing.
It's nothing.
When you look about how, and what you need to be cautious of in the council and the future leaders of Old Bridge is only about 50% developed.
Right.
There is so much land available for building, approved and zoned, that you really need to, and we tried to work on it
Yeah.
and change some zoning areas, but that's always controversial when you
Yeah.
change a zone. But redevelopment and pilot is a tool you can use to do that and to try to save some of the land that's still here in Old Bridge.
I mean, we're trying, but the state looks at all that land and they
Oh,
think,
it's green,
oh,
we want it."
we want to put apartments on it.
Regardless if there's
And we have to
mass
fight
transit,
with them.
regardless if the Old Bridge Water and Sewer can handle it,
Right.
regardless. Electricity in New Jersey,
Oh,
regardless.
that's
we
another
don't have
CD
power.
show, the electric.
Yeah, we don't have the power in New Jersey to sustain the affordable housing. I don't know what they're going to do.
The roads can't handle it
The
either.
infrastructure's not here. You know, when they're building, you heard the nightmare stories of using condemnation to take an active farm in Cranberry
Yes.
and build affordable units.
I don't know what their end game is here with all this housing. I
Well,
just
I have
wish I
bills down.
knew.
Hopefully, I saw them. They were posted. Hopefully, I get some support from across the aisle to stop eminent domain on farmland, active farmland, to stop this public bidding process when there's a farm, an outside agency come in and outbid that farmer that's been on that farm for years, and then make it, abandon it, and now make his case, well, I can build apartments here now.
Right.
So
Exactly.
We need to protect the farmers. We need to keep the garden state.
I know. That's what I worry about because, you know, when we were growing up, there were farms all around us. I mean, Old Bridge, when you grew up, it was all farms.
Believe it or not, I've been here for 65 years, and I've seen change in Old Bridge, but not as drastic as other towns.
Oh, yeah.
When you go through South Brunswick, all those farms, they're gone. Gone. When you go Cranberry Road, I was driving down Day Road the other day, and whew, it was completely different than when I remember it, you know, when I was going to school and had to drive it every day on my way to Trenton. It's completely different.
And it's the same, once the farms are gone, it's
They're gone.
It's,
Whether or not they can plant on a roof someday,
you can't,
I don't know.
You can't bring them back. And I just hope that people wake up before it's too late.
Yeah, but you know, the warehouses are necessary evil. People love to go online.
Yes,
We all do
yep.
it. And they want that package there the next day.
But you did get open space with the warehouses, though.
Half the land, we did 600
yes.
acres. I believe development occurred only over 300 acres.
Right.
So the town acquired there's 300 acres of open space,
Right.
which would have cost the town millions of dollars if they had to purchase it. You know what land cost?
And if that was houses, they would have been built.
They would have built them
everything.
like they did behind the shop, right, where you can touch one, put your hand out the window, no backyards.
Right.
It's really a disservice to the residents, and I can see why they're upset.
Yeah.
You know, looking for a scapegoat, blaming the town and the pilot for them having no backyard.
Right.
You know.
I don't know how well, like you said, this was all approved like 30 years ago.
Yeah,
These
2000.
they should sunset at the state level, these developments, after so many years, because they no longer fit
GDPs,
here.
Right, they get automatic 15-year renewal,
Yeah.
so that gives them about a 30-year window, and I think that's why they pushed for that one very quickly,
Right.
that 30-year window. We were fortunate that one was held up, I hate to say it, but it was in court for a long time with the Water and Sewer Department, with the Bernetti family,
Oh, yes. Yeah.
where him being promised so many free hookups, but that was in the 50s.
Right.
So I think they were a little, and I guess they came to an agreement with the water and sewer, because that's a valuable commodity
yeah.
right now, water and sewer.
I think a lot of people don't realize that when people own land, that they have a right to sell it or build on it, and they want us to stop it, but legally we can't.
You have to buy
If we
it.
went to court, we would lose every
lose.
time.
And you have to work with a developer, and once you say no, then they go to court, and then you lose any gains
Yeah,
you might
exactly. You have
in
to try to
negotiation.
negotiate.
You go back to zero, and most times, if it's an approved use or there's a hardship, the judge will look favorably upon the developer because of the Constitution, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, which includes, you know, we're one of the only countries where you own real estate. You know, you don't own real estate in a lot of other countries. You own it here in the United States. So you, as you say, you're entitled to follow the zoning. Every town has to have zone. If not, you do it, then you can do whatever you want. If you can say, well, not, you know, so we have zoning here in Old Bridge, and if that developer or if that landowner follows that zoning, he's allowed to develop his property for his constitutional right.
I mean, I've even seen cases go to court where it wasn't zoned for that, and they've won in court. So you never know.
And the affordable housing, I think, gives them another
Absolutely,
leverage.
yes.
To meet your obligation, a judge will say, Old Bridge, you're not meeting your obligation. I'm going to meet it for you
Right.
by changing the zoning. And they want to eliminate zoning in Trenton, believe it or not.
Oh, I know.
They want to eliminate the single-family home.
Well, one of the bad things about this affordable housing is the builders have a seat at the table determining how many units get built in a town.
Fair share
which
housing,
should
the
not be
builders.
right.
And guess who wasn't at the table? Professional planners
Yeah.
who know how to do
That
things.
makes sense.
Yeah, that was frustrating to me.
You're trying
There
to
was
use
no
reason
professional-
now in
yes,
Trenton.
Yes. So let's build the units where there's no water, there's no
Yeah.
sewer.
I don't know
no
why they
mass
don't
roads.
revitalize the cities where they have
Cities.
they have the
There is a push.
transportation, the infrastructure, they have the
They
jobs.
could use that money to
It would be more
fix up those
beneficial for the
buildings,
people.
The warehousing and we know New Jersey was very industrial at one point. There's these big, massive factories that could be conversion. That should be affordable housing. Conversion.
Instead of
And there
taking
are
our
developers
farmland,
that
yeah.
would do it. They would do it.
They're taking
if you
all the
gave them building.
farmland.
Yes.
Yes,
Why take
green
farmland,
space, right.
virgin land, when you have an industrial
Right.
building, you know,
Yes.
1 million square feet sitting there, decaying.
Yeah, we need this green space.
Yeah, it's a lifestyle that we have here in Old Bridge, and we want to maintain it.
We want to keep a lot of these farms, you know. Like you said, we don't have an open space trust fund. We had put a referendum out before the people, and they voted it down unanimously that they didn't want to have one, even though we've went to the county. But they don't, since we don't have one, they don't want to give it back to us.
And the state has rules, and like if you don't have an open space trust fund, you are not entitled to matching
Right.
grants. And the county has a similar attitude. We do get some money from the county. And we do get a little from the state, but if we did have
Open space.
trust fund here, we'd get more. But I think with the pilot in place, and once they start paying, their increment, you could dedicate a part of that pilot, build an affordable open space trust fund within the municipal budget, and now you'd be getting more money, and you'd be able to bond for a substantial amount of money. And now you could spread that because we have a stabilized base for 30 years.
Right.
You could now bond for more money at that and increase our bond rating.
Yeah, because we know what money we could count on coming in
You can
because
count on
it's
it and
spelled
pay
out.
whatever, right.
Right.
And now you could purchase some of these large priced parcels. I mean, some of these parcels are in the millions.
It's
It's in the
crazy
millions.
now.
You
Yeah.
can only imagine what the developer paid for that Brunetti property.
And these people that own these farms, it's more profitable for them to sell them to developers than it is to sell them to the state. So if you were given a choice, I'm going to give you 2 million or 20, you're going to take the 20.
Yes, and that's what the state is at now. We're trying to become competitive with developers, but we don't want the developers to use it as a tool to raise the price.
Right.
So we're being very careful. We're dealing with a lot of, my District 12 is very diverse from Old Bridge and Matawan. If you start going to the west of New Jersey, it still is all farm. There's more horses and cows than people. Some towns don't have any traffic lights in some of the towns I represent. So they're fighting for their life out there.
Right.
They are fighting in western New Jersey for their life to maintain that quality of life.
Yeah, I hope they win.
Because there is no infrastructure out there.
Things have to change or it's going to be unsustainable here with this affordable housing.
That's the thinking in Trenton. I don't know why. I can only surmise why. I won't say it.
Yeah, I won't say it out loud, but
I think I know why.
I think I do too. I want to thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you for having me.
It was great having you because you were here when this all initiated.
Always available. My office is right here.
I'd like you to come for some more shows. I'd like you to come back and we talk about the electric. I think we could have a whole TV show on why our electric bills are so high.
Funny story. We were scheduled to get a power plant in Old Bridge over by Waterworks Road, by the Cibola plant. And we were negotiating the pilot, and we were negotiating, and at the last minute they pulled out of the deal, NRG. In fact, it was an election topic when I first ran for mayor. The administration before me was counting on that plant coming, the electric plant.
Yes, I remember that.
They were coming.
Yes.
It was going to pay millions of dollars in town host community. That was going to save them from the budget.
Yeah.
And then I'm in the industry, and I knew at the time that that company had pulled out,
Yes.
and they were still, saying, no, it's coming, it's coming. And I said right on OBTV, it's not coming.
No pun, but they pulled the plug on
Yeah,
it.
no pun intended. But that plug has been pulled, and they didn't know what to say.
Yeah. Well, that's another big problem now with the new the internet, the intelligence. It's such a drain on the electric system right
and
now.
we're missing out in New Jersey. AI is not
AI
coming to
is
New Jersey.
just-
Data centers.
They closed all the the infrastructure down.
I mean, basically, New Jersey's telling them, if you want to do that, bring your own power source.
Yeah.
So you would have to generate your own power.
Yeah, we closed down 6 power plants, a nuclear
6.
plant.
The nuclear, many of them I worked on, unfortunately, decommissioned. Hudson, Mercer, Logan, there was a number of them across the state just taken offline with no replacement, no backup except for windmills that were never coming. We're never going to fill the gap.
They don't
the
produce
void.
enough electricity.
And they blame PJM. Oh, we're getting off on another show here.
That's our next show.
They're blaming people except themselves. That's what's so frustrating.
We got to save all this for our electric show.
The lights will go dim.
Thanks for coming. I really
you for having
appreciate
me,
you
Mayor. I
setting the record straight.
I feel better now venting.
Okay, and you're going to come back for the electric show.
I will. We have many issues we can talk about.
Yes, we do. Thank you.
Thank you, Deb. Be well. Thanks for taking over.
I want to switch jobs with you for 2 weeks.
Let me think about it now.
I want to thank the public for listening. I hope you watch the show. We set the record straight on the pilots, how they really are good for a municipality. Thank you for joining us.